name's Ben Cook and welcome to Angling For You. Hi and welcome to Angling For You. Today you join me on a lovely midweek session out at Viking ponds. It's down Pollington Way towards Goole. Not Fisher's venue, to be honest. I know a lot of people have, a lot of local people have. There's a choice of 3 strip pools that are on here, and we're on Hawk. The peg I've chose today is peg 29. Got a nice little bay wrapping around the corner. Got some good features left and right down the edges, a good track line, and also a really good over the bank, about 13, probably 13.5 metres. The method I'm going to show you today, obviously I'm going to be fishing various methods today, but the one I'm going to go through is I'm fishing chop worm and Castor. Now it's a lot of people have their own ways of doing it, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, mine's wrong and did it what. That's fine. This is just a very basic guide to it. I know that you can add a lot more to it, but this is just a basic way that I fish it in the summer months, and it's done really good for me. It's done really good in the winter as well. But I'll just go through my setup. So the top kit that I've got set up today, really simple, is elastic wise a number 8 hollow, really light, slackened off slightly as well, so then on those smaller fish, I mean we're only looking at fish from probably 8 ounce upwards really. I mean there's chance of carp, there's some good hide in here, some barbel, and you know we may encounter some of those, and that, you know, that 8 hollow is stretchy enough to cope with most of that. So obviously we've got that down to a puller kit. The float I've gone for is a 0.6 and it's got a wire stem. This means in the track sometimes the wind's been wrapping around, giving it a bit of tow on the water, so I want that to be quite a stable float. It's going to be stable in the water with a really rigid wire stem, and that's going to make for a really sort of robust float. If it starts to tow, which really it doesn't with a 0.6, if it did start to tow a little bit I may backshot it at some point, but at the moment I'm not going to do. And that's onto 014 line all the way down to a 012 hook link, and I'll go through the shotting pattern. So I've got a strung out bolt, so just get a slow fall through the water so we can pick them up through the layers of water. I'm alternating worm, head or Castor on the hook, so working straight down to the hook link. The hook link that I've got is about 10 inches, and like I said it's 012, and that's down to an 18's hook, and quite a nice wire silverfish hook. Wants to be really sharp and easy to hit those smaller fish, obviously with the really quick bites. I've shot the float right down to the tip, so there's only a little bit of bristle because the bites are pretty rapid. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move the camera angle and I'm going to show you how I prepare the chop worm. So I'm just going to go through the way that that I prepare the worm. So I'm just going to reach across. What I do is I do it in bits because I don't want the worm to dry out if I've got a load of it side of me. So I get a pinch of worm and a pinch of soil. You can get worm scissors, I just use normal scissors, and I'm just roughly just chopping those up. Depending on what size fish you're going for, dependent on what size you cut the worms up. Now the fish here, like I say, go up into double figures. Most likely we're going to be catching the smaller silvers and skimmers and that kind of size fish to start off with. So we're going quite small. Then what I tend to do is just get a little fingertip worth of castors, and I just mix those in together like that. And for this time of year I don't add anything to it. I don't add any ground bait or anything, and that's how I prepare them. So what I've started off by doing is feeding one pot, and I'm using my smaller pot today. I'm using so the medium pot, so about 100 ml this pot, and just filling the bottom of this pot basically, so you could use your smaller one if you want. And I'm just feeding that every couple of fish until it's established. Once the fish are established, then I'll do it probably once every 3 or 4 fish with a little kinder pot, so I'm feeding a bit less, and then top it up sort of every 20 minutes or so, unless they're really having it and there's a lot of fish there, and then we'll just top it up from there, but we'll go on with that. So join me on the water. We'll get some bait on and we'll see if we can catch. Right guys, so what I'm going to do is start by using Castor. You can alternate what baits you want to use, but we're just going to start with some Castor. And what I tend to do is a double Castor, and I hook one through the fat part and one through the thin part. That stops your Castor spinning when you go into the water. And just onto the bend of the hook, and then I'm fishing top 2 plus 2 out. There's a little bit of a shelf and a hollow out there. I'm just fishing on the bottom of that shelf. It's a good tip to you know, mull around, do some good work on plumbing around to find those little hollows before you start to fish. You know, it can be a great indication of a good day. The time there is time saved when fishing. So float's just settling down, and there's an indication straight away. I always try to strike straight up. The bites are quick, so it looks like I'm striking a bit firm, but we've got light elastic on. There you go, learn to fish now. And you've got to strike up firm. We've got soft elastic on, and it'll absorb that run and that strike. It's only a small fish, and like I said, that's what I'm expecting to catch. Putting the worm on after a little bit, once they're established, might get the bigger fish. It's a nice little hide, which is one of the fish that you expect to catch on worm and Castor. So, like I say, lovely little stamper fish, you know, and it's not all about catching these huge fish all the time. And you know, I discuss this with a lot of friends and a lot of members. When I first started fishing, we'll try a little bit of worm. When we used to fish, we never really caught big fish to start off with, and this kind of method is grassroots really for us. This is what we used to fish all the time. So what you want to do is I like to find a tail end, and just where it's been broken off, I like to just nick it through there and just slide it onto the hook, just so it's almost hooked like a maggot. You can, if you've got bigger hooks and you're fishing, you know, big dendrobinas and you're fishing for carp, then yeah, it's a bit different. You can slide it up the hook and all that, hook it through the collar. But I like to just nick it on when I'm fishing for smaller fish, a bit like a maggot. Just lower the rig nice and straight. That'll allow you to get those bites on the way down while the float's settling. And there we go, into a little tiny fish, little perch, just on and off. Shows how many fish are down there. But the fun thing about method like this, fishing the worm and Castor, it fishes anywhere, and it also catches anything. So you really don't know what kind of a day you're going to have. And these little perch are attacking this worm to death. Might just go back onto the Castor. There's a lot of little perch there, so we're getting a better stamp on the Castor, which is unusual actually, because you tend to get a bit better stamp when you're fishing the maggot, when you're fishing the Castor. So we really wanted that lovely little perch, really wanted that worm. Now I'm also a believer, to be honest, when fishing commercials, that I don't really like to swing the fish in as much as I can help. And even though that fish is obviously easily swingable, I tend not to swing them. That's just out of my own choice. I just feel that, you know, it's easy enough to just stick a net under them. As you notice, those couple of fish I haven't fed because there's obviously plenty there. we'll catch another couple of fish and we'll put a small amount of bait out there. So it's back onto the double Castor now. Those eyed were just a little bit better stamp on that double Castor. I'm hoping for some bream. We've some skimmers. We've got we've plumbed up just touching bottom. It's quite silty, so I didn't want to go over bottom, so we're just touching bottom with the bait. It's like there's a little shoal-off perch that have just rocked up and started to eat all of the bait, which is a bit annoying. Still got one caster on there, but we're just gonna check it. It's all right. We're just gonna put another caster on there. That went straight away. That's obviously a fish taking it on the way down. This is why we lower it in gentle. Get those extra fish up in the different layers. That's a bit better stamp fish now. That feels possibly like a skimmer. Oh, it's a lovely hide. A lovely hide. Fantastic fish. Look at the size of that hide. It's a lovely fish. And that's what happens a lot of time. You start off and you get the smaller fish, and then you get the it's a cracking fish. Fantastic fish. And you know, people can go on about carp all day long, but for me, a net full of these, can't go wrong. Let's change that camera angle and see if we can get a little bit of a close up and see if we can have some more. Right guys, so what we're going to do is get another double Castor on, as you saw. Fantastic hide. And fingers crossed there's a couple more of that standard down there, because that's a lovely fish. But you see, there's we still haven't fed after that one, because I put in a pot just before it. I'm going to try and get another fish and then look at feeding after that. With a little perch. So again, went against what I said, but I'm going to feed after this one, and we'll see if we can have so like I said before, we've got this small pot on. We're gonna feed. I'll just show you. I'll put the feed in and just show you how much I'm feeding. Right, so as you can see, it's not a lot of feed that we're putting in, but it's about the regularity of that feed. A little bit of soil in there gives it a little bit of weight to get it down there, but it also just clouds up a little bit when you feed it. So I always follow it with a little scoop of water, just to swirl out the cup, and just gives it a little bit of extra sort of scent that goes down when you pour it over the top. So we go back for the double caster, as seems to doing the business. It's a lovely method to fish for anything, and it does really well on natural venues as well, and does really well in winter. It's just something that doesn't get used as much as it should by the youngsters and the modern day anglers, because we've got so many carp venues now, and everything's pellet, you know, and paste, and all those methods are great, and don't get me wrong, I like to catch big fish just as much as everybody else does, but it's like cooking. You got to know the basics before you go for the bigger fish, and it's good to catch these smaller fish, silvers, you know, as well, because these fish are your filler fish when you fish matches. These are your filler fish when you can't go off. And you know, if you get a good run on it and you get the swim going like I've got today, and you're catching a fish a drop, you'll soon put 20 pound in your net in a match. In the middle of a match, when the carp aren't feeding, 20 pound can make all the difference if someone's just holding out for carp. And you know, that's why it's important to have these in your locker. Yeah, straight onto these little perch. Lovely little perch. I mean, as you can see from just this quick video, it's quite an amazing productive method. Catches lots of different types of fish, and you know, some venues you'll just catch carp on it, some days you'll just catch silvers on it, and it's just about being persistent, fishing over the same place, give that regular feed, especially in summer, and eventually those big fish will come in, like you saw with that nice size hide. They will come in and you will catch them. And you know, it's just my way and my method of doing it. Lots of different ways out there. Hopefully you can pick through the bits that you want to try, and check out some of those other videos. Lots of different things for lots of different venues. And thank you to Viking Fisheries for letting us film today. And it's a lovely venue. I'm sure we'll be back many times to do many different videos. Check us out on Instagram on angling_for_you, and Facebook group Angling for You, and also obviously the YouTube Angling for You as well. And subscribe and like, guys. That one.